Have you ever found yourself scrolling back through the camera roll on your phone, perhaps looking for a specific photo of a loved one or a vacation from years ago, only to realize just how many images you have scrolled past that you simply don't remember taking? It's a common experience for so many of us to pause in that motion and notice that interspersed between the birthdays and the sunsets are hundreds, maybe even thousands of screenshots, recipes we haven't cooked, book recommendations we haven't read, inspirational quotes that spoke to us for a fleeting second, or funny conversations we wanted to freeze in time. Welcome, and thank you for taking a moment to slow down with me today. It is truly a pleasure to have you here as we explore a habit that is so distinctly modern and yet so deeply human. We often look at these digital piles and wonder why we keep them, especially when we so rarely go back to open them again. But there is a gentle curiosity worth exploring here, because it suggests that saving these screenshots often isn't about organization or utility at all, but rather about memory, emotion, and a quiet, subconscious fear of letting moments disappear. When we look at the sheer volume of what we save, it can feel like clutter, but if we look closer, we might find that it is actually a form of storytelling, a way of keeping pieces of ourselves safe in a world that moves incredibly fast. Think about the last time you took a screenshot. Probably happened in a split second. You saw something on your screen, maybe a headline, a jacket you liked, or a comment that made you feel seen, and without even fully formulating a thought, your fingers did that familiar dance on the buttons, the screen flashed, and the image was saved. In that moment, there was a sense of satisfaction, a tiny feeling of relief. It feels like we have captured something. We have taken a flowing, ephemeral river of digital information and we have reached in and pulled out a stone, placing it in our pocket. Many people notice that the act of saving the screenshot often replaces the act of actually engaging with the content. We save the article to read later because saving it feels like we have already accomplished something, or at least we have promised our future selves that we will. It's a way of deferring attention, of saying, I am too busy for this meaningful thing right now, but I am the kind of person who cares about this, so I will save it for a quieter time. And even if that quieter time never comes, the screenshot remains as a testament to that intention. It represents a version of you that wanted to learn that language, or bake that sourdough bread, or understand that complex philosophy. This brings us to an interesting realization that many people share, which is that our screenshot folders often serve as a mirror of our aspirations. When we scroll through them, we aren't just seeing images. We are seeing all the different people we intended to be. The person who saves workout routines is signaling a desire for health. The person who saves interior design photos is signaling a desire for a peaceful, beautiful sanctuary. In this way, digital hoarding isn't really about hoarding files. It's about hoarding possibilities. It is about holding on to potential futures. It can feel comforting to have them there, tucked away in the cloud or on a hard drive, because deleting them might feel like admitting we are never going to become that person. As long as the screenshot exists, the possibility exists. And this is the part many people don't realize until they really sit with it. We often save things not because we need the information, but because we need the feeling that the information gave us in that specific moment. Consider the memes or the funny tweets we save. We almost never look at them again to laugh a second time. So why do we keep them? It's possible that we are trying to archive the laughter itself. We are trying to preserve the feeling of lightness we had at 11 p.m. on a Tuesday when the world felt heavy. Saving the image is a way of validating that emotion, of saying, this mattered to me, even if only for a second. The same is true for the heavy things. The sad quotes, the poignant poetry, the news snippets that made us angry or heartbroken. We save them to prove that we felt something. In a digital landscape that is constantly refreshing, where the feed changes every time we blink, our emotions can feel disposable. One minute we are laughing, the next we are outraged, and then we are bored. Saving a screenshot is a way to drive a stake into the ground and say, "I was here. I felt this. This was real." It grounds us in a slippery environment. There is also a very human element of wanting to preserve proof. Many people find themselves saving text messages, even mundane ones, or comments from friends. It isn't always about evidence for an argument. Often, it is just evidence of connection. A screenshot of a kind text from a parent, or a funny exchange with a partner, becomes a digital artifact of a relationship. We know, logically, that the text is still there in the messaging app, but scrolling back to find it takes work. And there is always the subtle fear that technology might fail, that the chat history might be lost, or that the person might leave our lives. The screenshot feels permanent. It is a static image, unchangeable, safe from the flow of time. It is a way of holding on to people. It's understandable why this happens, and it's a behavior that many find relatable, because we are the first generation of humans to live with this specific kind of anxiety, the anxiety of the infinite feed. Our ancestors might have kept letters in a shoebox or clipped recipes from a newspaper, but the volume was manageable. Today, the sheer amount of input we receive is staggering. Every day, we see more images and read more words than someone 200 years ago might have encountered in a year. Our brains are not designed to let all of that flow past us without trying to catch some of it. We are gatherers by nature. We gather berries, we gather wood for the fire, and now we gather information. The screenshot is the modern basket. It is a survival mechanism adapted for a world where survival means staying informed, staying inspired, and staying connected. So, when you look at your phone and see thousands of images you never look at, it doesn't necessarily mean you are disorganized or obsessive. It simply means you are trying to navigate a torrent of information, and your way of coping is to build a little dam, to create a reservoir of things that matter. Here's what those screenshots often represent when we stop judging them as clutter. They represent a refusal to let the world just happen to us. They are small acts of agency. By saving something, you are making a choice. You are separating the signal from the noise. You are saying, "This is worth keeping," while the rest of the noise fades away. But then, of course, the question arises, why do we never look at them? Why do we let them pile up until the storage warning pops up on our screen? It might be because the value was in the capture, not the consumption. Once we have saved it, the anxiety of missing out dissipates. We don't need to read the article anymore because we have the article. The possession satisfies the urge. Similar to buying a book and putting it on the shelf. The act of buying it alleviates the fear that we won't have access to that knowledge. The screenshot is the digital equivalent of a full bookshelf. It makes us feel secure in our intellectual and emotional resources. And often, revisiting them can actually be a bit painful or underwhelming. Sometimes we look back at a screenshot from 2 years ago, a meme that seemed hilarious or a quote that seemed profound, and we feel nothing. The context is gone. The person we were when we saved it has changed. This can feel jarring, a reminder of how quickly we evolve. So we avoid looking. We prefer the idea of the screenshot to the reality of it. We prefer to believe that our Read Later folder is full of life-changing wisdom, rather than just a collection of outdated news and recipes for kale that we will never buy. There is a gentle paradox here that is worth noting. We save things to remember them, but by saving everything, we often make it harder to find anything. The volume of our digital memory actually obscures the specific memories we wanted to keep. It's like a library with no filing system, where the books are piled floor to ceiling. But perhaps the point isn't to find them. Perhaps the point is just to have them. Some people describe a feeling of comfort just knowing the files are there. It's a digital security blanket. It's not about retrieval. It's about presence. It's the feeling of having a fully stocked pantry, even if you're just making toast. This behavior also touches on our perception of time. We often save things for a someday that is undefined. Someday I will look at this inspiration for my living room. Someday I will need this chart about vitamins. Someday is a beautiful, safe place where we have infinite time and energy. The screenshot folder is the home of someday. It allows us to dream without the pressure of doing. It is a space of pure potential. And we shouldn't be too quick to dismiss the value of that. In a life that is often governed by deadlines and immediate demands, having a private collection of somedays can be a quiet rebellion. It's a space that belongs only to you, curated by your interests and your whims, with no algorithm telling you what to look at. It is, in a very real sense, a portrait of your inner life. If you were to hand your unlocked phone to a stranger and let them scroll through your screenshots, they would learn more about your hopes, your fears, your sense of humor, and your daily struggles than they would from your carefully curated social media profile. They would see the screenshot of the map to the restaurant you went to on a first date. They would see the accidental screenshot of your lock screen. They would see the validation code for a bank transfer. They would see the rough draft of a feeling. It is raw and unpolished, and there is a beauty in that messiness. But if you find yourself feeling weighed down by it, it might help to reframe what you are looking at. Instead of seeing a to-do list that you have failed to complete, try seeing it as a travel log. You were traveling through the internet, and these were the postcards you picked up along the way. You don't have to mail every postcard. You don't have to frame every souvenir. Sometimes it is enough to just pick it up, hold it for a moment, and put it in your bag. The act of collecting was the point. And if you decide to delete them, that is okay too. Deleting can be its own form of honoring the past, acknowledging that you no longer need the reminder because the lesson has been integrated, or because you have outgrown that particular wish. But there is no rush. There is no rule that says you must have an empty camera roll to be a calm or organized person. The digital world is vast and often overwhelming, and if your way of making sense of it is to grab little pieces of it to keep for yourself, that is a very natural response. It is a way of saying that your attention matters, that your memories matter, and that you want to hold on. We are all just trying to catch moments before they slip away. So the next time you see that storage full notification, or you find yourself scrolling past a screenshot of a sweater you never bought from 3 years ago, try not to judge yourself. Instead, maybe offer a quiet nod to the person you were 3 years ago. That version of you liked that sweater. That version of you had hope. That version of you was trying to build a nice life. The screenshot is just the shadow that hope cast. It's okay to keep it, and it's okay to let it go. Whatever you choose to do with your digital archives, know that you are not alone in building them. We are all curators of our own little digital museums, walking through the halls of things we found beautiful or interesting or true, even if we are the only ones who ever visit. It's a quiet, shared human habit, and there is something quite lovely about that. If this reflection resonated with you, and you found a little bit of comfort in looking at your own digital habits differently, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for being here.